The single father checked his wallet one last time and felt his chest tighten. $50. That was all he had. Across the restaurant, a blind date he'd waited months for was about to arrive. And at the next table, a man worth billions quietly set down his fork, because what he was about to witness would change both of their lives forever. Ethan Miller had not been on a date in 4 years. Since the night his wife died in a drunk driving accident, life had become a straight line of responsibilities, school lunches, second-hand clothes, late-night bills, and whispered prayers that his 6-year-old daughter Lily would never feel how heavy the world could be. The blind date wasn't his idea. It was his sister's. "She deserves to see you smile again," she'd said. Ethan almost canceled 3 times. He ironed the same shirt twice. Practiced smiling in the mirror. And counted his money again and again. $50, everything left after rent and groceries. When the waitress seated him at the modest Italian restaurant, his hands trembled as he opened the menu. Prices blurred together. He calculated silently, panicking. 1 entree. No dessert. No drinks. Maybe water. What he didn't know was that 2 tables away sat Daniel Blackwood. A self-made millionaire CEO known in business magazines as ruthless, emotionless, and impossible to impress. Daniel wasn't watching Ethan at first. Until he noticed the way Ethan read the menu, not with hunger, but with fear. Then the date arrived. Her name was Claire. She was warm, kind, nervous too. She laughed softly, talked about books, teaching, and her dream of opening a small community library someday. Ethan laughed, but inside, dread grew. When the waiter asked for drinks, Ethan swallowed. "Just water for me," he said quickly. Claire hesitated, then smiled. Same. Daniel noticed everything. The way Ethan subtly pushed the menu toward the cheaper side. The way he refused appetizers. The way he apologized, too much. At one point, Claire mentioned her late mother. Ethan listened with full attention, eyes gentle, nodding, not interrupting once. Daniel's fork stopped midair. This man wasn't cheap. He was careful. When the bill arrived, Ethan's hands shook. He excused himself to the restroom and stared at his reflection, shame burning his chest. "I shouldn't have come," he whispered. "I'm not enough." Outside, Daniel made a decision. Ethan froze. The stranger extended his hand. "Daniel." Claire looked confused. Ethan nodded slowly, embarrassed. "Yes. I think so." Daniel sat down without asking permission. "I watched you tonight," he said calmly. "You didn't complain. You didn't lie. You didn't pretend to be something you're not." Ethan's face flushed. "I didn't mean to." Daniel raised a hand. "You don't need to explain. I grew up poor. I know that look." Claire's eyes widened. Daniel slid an envelope across the table. Inside was the paid receipt, and something else. A card. "Tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. My office." Ethan shook his head immediately. "I can't take charity." Daniel smiled for the first time that night. "This isn't charity. It's opportunity." The next morning, Ethan almost didn't go. But Lily hugged him before school and said, "Daddy, you always tell me to be brave." So he went. Daniel offered Ethan a job, not because of skills, but because of character. A role that paid more in 1 month than Ethan had made in a year. Months passed. Ethan flourished. Learned fast. Worked harder than anyone. And every night, he went home early, because Daniel noticed one thing. Ethan always chose his daughter over overtime. 1 year later, Daniel stood in a packed auditorium, handing Ethan a promotion. "You reminded me," Daniel said quietly, "that success without kindness is failure." Claire was in the front row. Lily sat on Ethan's shoulders. And as Ethan looked around, at the life he thought he'd never have, he realized something. That night with only $50 wasn't his lowest point. It was the moment someone finally saw him.